Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
Happy Wednesday, you West Coast cocksuckers, New York nudists, and bi-coastal bisexuals. This is Billy Procida, and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. Hello, everyone from the sunny Los Angeles. How you doing, people? Hope you had a great week. I am enjoying myself quite nicely thus far. It's been a pretty cool trip, and I can't wait to tell you about it. But first, I can't wait to tell you about some show dates. Yes! Okay, tomorrow, Thursday, in Los Angeles, April 7th, I'm going to be at Hyperion Tavern. That's a 7:30 p.m. show. It's a free comedy show. Should be really fun. Then this Sunday, back in New York City, April 10th, I'm going to be doing a roast battle at Comedy Fight Club at a bar called Lovecraft. It's over on Avenue B. It's going to be a fun time. That's at 9:30 p.m. Oh, so I'm going to be roasting someone I used to sleep with. So hopefully a future Man Whore Podcast guest. And there's like this big main event roast battle. And apparently if the current champion loses, he loses his title. But if the challenger loses, his head is going to be shaven in front of everybody. So if that gives you any more incentive to come out, come watch me get insulted for a couple minutes. Then also Los Angeles tonight, Wednesday, April 6th. I'm going to be hanging out at Dark Room on Melrose at 7 p.m. for a couple hours. Come on out, say hello. It's specifically a Man Whore Podcast fan whore meetup. So any listeners out there, if you got no plans or if you really want to see me, come give me a hug, have a drink. Let's chit chat. Let's talk about butt things. I would love to meet you. And how often am I on the West Coast? So this is really your best opportunity. So how am I doing? Okay, so I'm in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is beautiful, people. I am quite enjoying it. I've already recorded some great episodes. I'm really excited about them already. And I'm going to keep them a bit of a secret, so I'm not going to spill the beans on some of the special guests, but they're pretty big in the slutty sex pos world. I'm very excited to share them with you. So stay tuned for all of those. I'm enjoying things. I've been going for runs. I went to the beach, lied out, just trying to get a little less translucent. I don't know if y'all have seen my headshot, but I'm a pretty white person. Not for lack of trying. I get to drive again. Here's something about Los Angeles. Tinder is fucking rough out here. Holy shit. When I was in Louisville, Kentucky last year for the Midwest Fest, I logged on the Tinder. 36 hours later, I had like a half dozen phone numbers. A day later, I was having sex in a children's playground. In Louisville, Kentucky, I crushed it in a very short period of time. Here, I had a few matches. No one talking to me. Oh, man. 0 phone numbers. Not that I really need it. I'll be honest with y'all. I was swiping with a little bit of apathy, kind of being like, I wasn't super horny. It's not like I really was like, oh, I gotta fuck. I was just like, let's see what's out here. But it's just in New York, I guess I'm like a 7.5. Maybe I'm an 8. I don't know. In Louisville, Kentucky, I guess I'm a 12. In Los Angeles, I think no matter what number you are, you have to subtract 11 points. No one's pretty enough here because there's always someone hotter. It's insane. But it's awesome. I'm having a great time in Los Angeles. I wish I could afford to come out here more often. This is exciting, though. Some of you may have noticed from my Twitter feed or on Facebook, but I got interviewed by the Washington fucking Post. Oh, yeah. Same publication that broke the Watergate scandal also broke the man whore having feelings scandal. Yes. Big controversy, me talking about my feelings. How often does that happen? No, I had a really great time. I got featured on the Solo-ish blog, which is one of WAPO's various blogs. And yeah, it's a great interview. You should all check it out. There is a link in the show notes of this episode. Also, while I was here in Los Angeles, I just recorded a podcast that is also now out. It's a sex podcast called Between the Sheets. It's with Laura Somoza and her comedy sidekick Ward. Had a really fun time on that. We went through a lot of like weird sex in the news topics, and we were also joined by the porn star Natalia Starr, lovely gal, great boobs, very pretty, and we talked about a lot of like odd sex topics that were in the news, weird goings on, like the stripper who bit a dude's dick and then got arrested for it, or the pussy flavored beer that is currently seeking funds on Kickstarter. we had a really fun time with that. So go check that one out. It's on iTunes and most podcast apps. It's called Between the Sheets. So you can hear me on there. This week's episode of the Man Whore Podcast is once again sponsored by Adam and Eve. Let me ask y'all a question. Do you get enough? I bet you'd love more of whatever it is you want, right? We always want some more. Well, adamandeve.com wants to give you more. Yes, right now, adamandeve.com is running a very special promotion, giving you 10 free gifts. Yes, first, you're going to get a sexy surprise for her, okay? And then next, you're going to get a specially selected toy for him. And third, well, I can't tell you what it is because I don't know what it is, but it's something that they know you're both going to enjoy. Okay. Plus, you get 6 full-length adult DVDs. Yes. Oh, I know that. Hold on. 7, carry the 5. Oh, yeah. That's only 9. Wait. The 10th free gift? Free shipping on your entire order. Yes. So what do you have to do to get your 10 free gifts? Well, it's not hard. Just go to adamandeve.com and select any one item. It could be an adventurous new toy or a sexy piece of lingerie. Just enter offer code MANWHORE at checkout and you'll get all 10 free gifts. Okay. Go check out adamandeve.com today. Select one item and get 10 free gifts. Did you hear that? And let me just say it once more. I don't think you heard. 10 free gifts, people. Be a fiscally responsible whore and get your 10 free gifts at adamandeve.com. The company has requested, once again, that I spell the word manwhore, MANWHORE. And if you can't spell manwhore without me spelling it for you, well, you know what? We have to have a conversation. I'm very concerned about your well-being. Everybody, I love that I'm getting such interactions with you on the internets. So I'm excited to see some more comments popping up on the Man Whore Podcast subreddit over at r/Man Whore Podcast. Over there, it's kind of like a free message board that you don't have to do a bunch of login info for. Very easy to sign up for Reddit. And over there, you can make comments on each individual episode of this show. You can post questions. You can post pictures, ideas, thoughts, whatever you want that's pertaining to me or the podcast over at r/Man Whore Podcast. But, obviously the bread and butter is the Twitter and email. Love hearing y'all from there. Thanks again, as always, for saying, hey, I got this tweet from at 2020 Surgery. I'm currently listening to at the Billy Persida's Man Whore Podcast on Spotify. What black magic fuckery is this? Yes, Splatter Fiction. That's which is their name, I guess. We've heard weirder names on the impersonal Patreon. Thank you, roll call. Yes, the Man Whore Podcast is on Spotify. So anytime you're trying to tell your friends about this podcast, because obviously you tell them about my show all the time, right? I know that's your main topic of conversation with your friends. It's like, hey guys, you should all listen to this show. Well, when they go, I don't really have a podcast app. I don't know how to listen to a podcast. Well, you can just respond with, oh, well, do you have Spotify? They're like, yeah. And then you can be like, oh, well, Jennifer, because it's always Jennifer. Yeah, Jennifer, you can listen to the Man Whore Podcast on Spotify. So there you go. No more excuses. I've also been noticing this, there's been a huge spike in the download numbers recently. Like over the last 6-7 days, a significant spike in downloads. And I'm excited. I'm happy about that. That's awesome. I'm curious, where'd you find me? This is great. Oh, I only ask that because I've had a lot of things come out recently So if you are a new listener, okay, if you are new to the program, shoot me an email, manwhorepod@gmail.com. Let me know where you found me. Was it the Washington Post interview? Was it Sex with Strangers? Did you hear me on Between the Sheets? Where did you find me? Was it the It's All Good Man podcast? Where did you find me? I'm just curious. Shoot me an email. Let me know. Or just say hello. If you aren't a new listener, if you're a seasoned vet when it comes to stories about my cock, just say hi. I like hearing from you people. It's always a good time. You know what else is a good time? Oh, yes. The impersonal Patreon thank you roll call. Oh, yeah. This is the part of the show where I like to thank everyone who supports the Man Whore podcast on Patreon. I'm currently here in Los Angeles, and I could not afford to be here if it wasn't for the generosity of you, my listeners. And this month, this past month of March, we hit an all-time high of 40 active patrons, pledging over $200. So that was amazing, and I would love for that to keep growing and getting higher and higher. Your donations pays for more content for you. It's what it does. It allows me to travel to Los Angeles to talk to my past partners who don't live in New York. And one of the many ways I like to say thank you is, saying thank you on the podcast. So right now I want to say, show my extreme gratitude to the lovely Lance, Jennifer C, SB, Holly F, Christina D, Danielle DP, Andrew R, Megs N, Sarah B, Fuckleberry Sin, Alex S, Toby T, Chris W, Lauren M, Gregory Y, Anna Super Slut, Sean B, Prickly Peach, Nelly H, and we got more names to go. Jazz O, Madeline B, Julian H, Sean N, Mary G, Jeff C, Lawrence B, Alfredo A, Mark G, Emily S. Look, I'm going to say Alfredo's name however the fuck I want. It's fun for me. Anthony C, Chris with a K, Ed B, Greg A, Jeffrey J, Dervla, Ramon F, Justin C, Sarah S, Lauren A, and Dave K. Thank you all so very much for your support. So support me and support sex-positive conversations on the internet. You can pledge as little as $1 per month, and you can cancel at any time. To do so, go to manwhorepod.com and click the Patreon banner on the side. Or you can download the Patreon app, and you can find me on there. Now, this week's guest is a special guest, one of my my non-hookup guests. Although, she is fucking gorgeous. Holy shit. This week's guest is Hayley Quinn, dating guru, Hayley Quinn. Oh my. This was a surprise podcast for me, actually. She shares the publicist of another upcoming Man Whore podcast guest who she runs an all-woman sex party called Skirt Club. I reached out being like, hey, I'd love to talk to Genevieve about Skirt Club. And she was like, well, it's a package deal. You got to also talk to this woman, Hayley. I'm like, I don't know who Hayley is. I look her up, and she did this TEDx talk about love and dating, but it was more of an inward look. It was like, well, first you got to love and date yourself before you're ready to go love and date others. And I'm like, fuck, this woman's awesome. I'm all about this. I'm like, I'm so happy I get to talk to her. And so I'm so pleased to get to share her with you. And she does so much, as she hosts 2 weekly podcasts of her own. She has a YouTube channel that's very, very active. She does date coaching and so much more. And you can go to HayleyQuinn.com and you can check all of that out. And her and I had this amazing conversation about love and intimacy and awkward first kisses and kind of like, I don't know, how viewing love changes as you grow up, as you start going through some grown-up shit, how your perspective on things change. I mean, her and I both, I guess, seem to have gone through some sort of a phase of needing to fill up the iCal every night with some new person. Because, as she says in her TEDx talk, because God forbid we were alone or by ourselves for a night, right? We have this amazing conversation, really clicked, and I gotta emphasize, you all need to watch this TEDx talk that she did. It was phenomenal, and I have it posted on my website at manwhorepod.com. Go watch that and listen to this episode. It's really good stuff. I think you're all going to learn a lot. Okay. I love it when you all are learning something. And let's check back in during the outro, because you've got quite the hour ahead of you. So let's go listen to me talking to British dating guru Hayley Quinn. But yeah,
I'll keep hunched like this.
Yeah, you were very engaged right now. You were like hunched. You were like, I'm in. I'm ready. Let's man whore it up. Let's do things.
Yeah. I like that. Let's man whore it up.
Man whore it up. I don't know. I'm a very bad man whore. Sometimes people say. But how are you, Hayley?
I am okay.
Yeah, you seem very bright today.
I have no particular reason to feel super bright, actually, but I'm just enjoying being outside of London and in New York and in a different city.
Yeah. You were. So what brings you to New York?
Okay, truthful answer. Okay, PR answer is that...
Please, only truthful answer. I don't care what Lainey told you to say.
Lainey doesn't tell me to say anything. She's amazing. No, really, there was two things, really. I'm out here to obviously promote my brand and what I'm about, which is really asking us to look at love and sex and dating relationships differently, because I think most of the dialogue around it sucks and disempowers people, especially women. And on a personal front, it's really to get headspace. That sounds really hippie, doesn't it? But I think that sometimes a change of scene. I'm writing a book at the moment, which is along the same themes. So for me to sit and be surprisingly actually away from the distractions of London is really positive.
Okay. 45 seconds in, already 2 or 3 plugs out there. That's very impressive.
That's very good. Yeah, I got a thumbs up.
Very smooth.
Yes.
Very smooth. Yeah, I got a book, I got a brand, I coach, I do things.
I do other things than drink root beer and sit around this place.
Okay, so you are, it would be accurate to call you a dating coach, right?
Yeah.
I was describing to my friend last night. She I was on this date, and I was telling her, so I'm talking to the girl from Skirt Club, and then this woman, Hayley Quinn. I described you as a former British pickup coach who grew a conscience.
Well, you know what the funny thing is? I always had a conscience. So I here's the thing. Went into the pickup industry actually because I disliked it. I didn't like I was like, what? Men teaching other men to seduce women and other men paying them for it? This is terrible.
Right.
But I was also a gigging writer at the time, and I was offered my first job as a ghostwriter for some of the people in the pickup industry.
And that was for their books or just for their advice?
For their blogs, for their ebooks. So I was writing a lot of that. I was basically pretending to be a 42-year-old man that lived in New York when I was a 23-year-old girl living in London. But I was always into feminism and women's stuff, and then I managed to, because I was a woman who knew about the men's dating, some bigger pickup companies offer me work as a coach, giving the female opinion.
Right.
But that also meant that I spent many days and hours and years taking men out onto the streets and nightclubs and bars of London, teaching them how to approach women. So I got this really interesting insight into that. And then eventually splintered off and started up my own brand. Obviously started working with women as well when I had the freedom to do so. And now my brand is really female focused, actually.
Okay, and then you also have these podcasts, but you have a podcast that's for the women and one that's kind of for the men.
Yeah, but I say,
but they're both listening. They're listening
and I
to both.
encourage them. I'm like, I know for all the sneaky guys who've snuck on here, and sometimes if I do a really interesting podcast, I'll double it up. Here we go. I'm going to get another plug in. April 1st, I'm doing a podcast, which is I've literally interviewed 7 women for 60 seconds on the moment that really gets them off.
Okay.
And they all prepared a little 60-second dialogue.
Sexually gets them off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was just to show the weird and wonderful range of female fantasy. And so I'm putting it out there on the women's podcast, Love HQ, because I want other women to not feel weird and to feel actually my crazy ass fantasy is in fact completely normal. And for guys to basically have a massive wake up call in terms of what female fantasy is all about.
Right. Well, I'm learning that out in London, y'all just apparently don't talk about sex.
No, of course we don't. No, it's so rare. We literally have to create secret underground communities to talk about sex. It's so not allowed.
It's we have those secret underground communities, but it's to talk about sex plus. We talk about sex, and then the little communities be like, well, we're going to talk about furries,
Right. Well, I don't know. Some of the female fantasy stuff was pretty out there. I'll tell you the weirdest one that I heard, okay? Which is... woman walks in home from work and her mum is in the living room, and her mum has been single ever since she had her, so 25 years ago. Okay. Her mum is watching porn and is struggling to get off. Woman helps mother to...
Get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like, I was like, all right then. And then there was another one, the other female fantasy that came up was like, I'm in an art gallery looking at an artistic nude. And the guy that glances, we walked past each other as we entered into the building, comes up behind me and puts his arm around my waist. Like, it's like a complete, like, opposite end of the spectrum. And it showed all of like the weird, wonderful variation that's out there when it comes to female sex.
But so you went from being a pickup coach, which I have such mixed views about the pickup
I've got mixed views about it, but it's because it's a
industry.
mixed industry. That's
Right.
why, because it's pickup. This is for people who don't know this. The pickup industry does not represent or teach or do one thing. In fact, it's like this big amorphous blob where there's infighting. People really disagree with one another. Well, it's like there's the first wave pickup artist. Let's go for that. Let's teach it.
There's waves like
There's
feminism?
waves. There are waves.
Oh my God.
People don't realize they're waves. And actually, okay, so here's how I say it. First wave is all this like hypnotism, NLP, like wearing goggles in a nightclub stuff. Let's say like really weird pop behavioral psychology. As a reaction to that, there was a group of guys that came up that wanted to say, hey, well, no, we don't want to meet women in nightclubs. We want to meet them during the daytime where it's natural. And you know what? We don't want to bullshit them. We want to be honest and just be direct about what we want. So that was the second wave, is about being direct, honest, natural, authentic daytime. Okay. Then there's like a third wave, which is all like, why are we focusing on women so much? This should be about personal development. Let's do the caveman or the paleo diet and like start up entrepreneurial businesses and read Tim Ferriss, The 4-Hour Work Week. So there's all this dialogue in that industry, and different pickup artists or people who identify work in that world will strongly dislike one another and it will attract completely different followings. Now, in the female dating world, kind of like the big, having seen that go on in the men's dating space, I look at the female stuff and to be honest, there's not as much dialogue and there's no one like contesting the general view. And all the main companies are called stuff like get the guy, catch him and keep him. And I'm like listening to this and I'm like, surely, like actually I think there's something that I believe that there's something that women's dating advice needs to borrow from the world of the pickup industry, which is actually let's
focus on the self.
Yes, focus on you as a woman. It's not all about obtaining someone else. It should actually be focused on self-improvement. And also that there's, for all of its sins, at least a lot of pickup advice is vaguely practical. It's not just like, I don't know, manifest your perfect guy and then write down your wish list for him and then put his name under a pillow and then just don't have sex with him until you're monogamous. It's just like, please, can we do something that's a bit more, a bit more exciting?
Like, what can I go do tonight? What's a thing I can go do tonight? Yeah.
Right. So I actually think that like that's kind of what I'm interested to do and to bring into challenge in that female dating space is to go, like, I really think that there's more that we can learn. I think there's actually a much better way that women can approach dating, sex, and relationships. And some of the ideas that I've got from that have been directly because I've been in the pickup industry for so long.
Because you've seen that side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've seen many sides.
Because every time I talk to a pickup artist person and I think like, oh, that's gross, that's disgusting, the peacocking shit, the negging. I don't know. As soon as you're seeing like the woman as a goal,
right?
That's the part where I started feeling disgusted.
And also, when I say, when you say women as like like a target, that's like a common way to call it, right, in the pickup industry. The problem with that is, and why I would never use any of that kind of lingo, is not only is it obviously misogynistic towards the women, but it also freaks most guys out. Like most normal dudes who've like got a good relationship with their mum, if they're told that the woman is a target, they freak out. They actually can't approach her because internally they're going, oh no, I don't want to be this creepy, weird, bad, evil person. And codifying sex, dating and relationships even more just weirds people out more, which makes them even harder for people to do, which is actually a very natural and normal thing, which is for like...
Just talk.
Talk. Like man and woman, or woman and woman, and man, or many combinations of the above, meet and talk, and maybe something sexual happens. Like that's cool, right? Like that's been going on for many millennia. So I think actually it's kind of good to talk against that, and also to recognize that my vast experience, I mean, when I first went to my first like pickup event, this is going back like 5 or 6 years ago in New York actually, I was expecting like some weird dudes in there, and then I got in and I was actually like, oh my god, these guys are like really decent, they're normal, for whatever various reasons they haven't had much success or they find it really difficult to talk to women. Generally they didn't want to have 16 stripper girlfriends, they just wanted to have the ability to walk up to a woman they were attracted to, start a conversation with her and have the opportunity to date her. And I'm like, you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah.
like can't really argue with that. And I think actually people's driving need for intimacy is okay. And in fact, we've got to stop saying that it's nasty or negative and instead teach people to approach it in a way that's respectful and that's ethical and good.
Yeah, and the ethics is, I think, the key part. Did you ever see the movie Hitch?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Got into a fight with someone last night about this. Okay. He's and he thought like Hitch was this disgusting person. He thought he was like a manipulative piece of shit. And I was like, no, it's just he's trying to teach Kevin James how to be noticed. And then Kevin's on his own trying to show like his true self. If his true self is an asshole, then she's gonna be like, well, that's a jerk, whatever. But this woman who would have never taken notice to Kevin James. Now like Hitch is teaching him some tricks, not to like manipulate her mind, but just to get her to notice him. I thought that, and I think that I see that with the pickup artists a lot sometimes. I mean, I sympathize with a lot of them. Dudes who just had no luck. Because like women were not interested in me until I was like 18 or 19.
Right, no one liked me either. Like I was a total like nerd at school. Like I had all the problems. This is what I say. Both my parents are disabled. We were poor, so I got free school meals. I had like the dodgy bad clothes because I was eating free school meals and bad food. I was like chubby, and I was.
Oh, you too? I was a chubby.
Oh yeah, I was a chubby kid. That's why I was like, I work out. I have to, like, and, you know, it's like, and then on top of that, I was kind of the brainy, weird girl. So those and a goth. So the combination. Oh yeah. Yes, I was listening to Placebo when we met earlier out in the street.
I'm trying to picture you with more eyeliner.
More eyeliner. Just add. No, seriously, I'm going to show you. I'll show you my I'll show you my passport photo. I'm no joke. On the way out, I was a queen of eyeliner. I dyed my hair black. I lived in like Cornwall, which is like a beachy place in England, and I was like, I don't like sand. I'm not going on the beach. Like I just basically did everything.
I don't like sand or sunlight or happiness. Nothing.
No, I'm just gonna sit here by myself and cry. And because of that, like I was literally the first kiss I ever had. A guy did it for 50p bet because I was like the ugliest girl in school, and I thought he really liked me.
Oh no!
It was so I was like, no, I have suffered. It was only when I left home and like sorted my life out a bit and started working and like got into fitness that.
Wait, when did you find out that it was a bet?
Oh, basically immediately afterwards. So, okay, I'm going to call him out. Laurie McCall.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
Yeah, I fucked this guy. I was 14 years old. We were at the school. It was really painful. And I'd been liked him for ages. Can you imagine? He finally comes up to me, Hayley, the weird girl. And he's like, oh, do you want to kiss? And here's awkward. I thought that kissing was just like on the lips. I didn't realize it involved tongues.
Oh,
so then he was like, no, with tongues. I'm like, okay, so I'm already an idiot by this point. Then his mates come over and they go, oh, did you kiss her? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, we don't believe you do it again. So then I kissed him again.
And you were thinking,
still
like,
not cottoning on to what's happening.
It's like, oh my God, I get to kiss him again.
Yeah.
He wants all of his friends to see.
I was like, he's so proud of me. And then I like, here you go, mate. It's like 50 cents. Essentially. I'm like, oh my God. And I went home. And all I remember feeling in the car journey back, I was like, my tongue feels weird. And he didn't really like me.
Oh, no.
I know. So, yes.
Oh, awkward first kiss.
Yeah. Oh God. But like, I kind of get. I've had some really bad love life experiences. I kind of get it. I think it's a shame if people feel to the point where they, I meet people, men and women, who have literally had no physical contact for years.
I don't get it.
Like,
I can't imagine. I can't. People are like, I haven't had sex in 2 years. I'm like, wait, what? Huh?
So I kind of think, well, if you haven't had physical contact for 2 years, right, and you get to the point where you're looking at your life, you're like, hang on, I really want to improve myself. I want to learn some social skills. In the process of that, I probably actually want to get a better career. I want to, tidy my flat. I want to get fitter and healthier. What is wrong with that? Like, you know what? Not everybody had an easy childhood or when they were teenagers had positive experiences. Lots of people have been socialized in funny ways, or maybe they work a job which doesn't emphasize any kind of social skills. And you come out the other side of that. And, dating in 2016 is a weird space anyway. It's like there's apps, there's instant messaging, there's people canceling all the time. There's all these weird phenomena that we just literally never had to deal with.
You have all the options now.
Right.
You have so many options.
Right. And I think that messes people up, clearly.
Because you can't decide who anymore.
Right.
You were like, oh, I could go with her, but let me see if any more swipes gives me a better option. Or, oh, I like this one better. Let me cancel the plans and I'll go with this better one. Yes. I liked in your TEDx talk, which I really enjoyed, by the way. I watched a couple of times at this point. It's you were describing like the grill. You're like, well, you got this guy, but you got the backup guy. You got one on the side burner. You got one in the freezer to unthaw just in case. And just because God forbid you're alone for a night. And I I loved that.
I spent epic amounts of time by myself. I really do. Like I genuinely did 6 months celibacy. And now when I say like, oh, I'm kind of seeing a guy, it means like literally our relationship, quote unquote, not relationship yet, is going at like a snail pace. I see him maybe twice a month. We speak on the phone. It's like old school. I'm going old school on that.
Yeah.
And it's particularly because I wanted to be like, if I go to America, I want to sit here for like a month or so while I'm out here and not feel the need. And like, I'm not going to date anyone. I'm just going to be, you know what? I decided, I was like, I'm not having any moral problems if people want to date multiple people. But for me, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep my headspace clear. I'm just going to focus on myself. I'm going to chill out and deal with the fact I'm not having sex or anybody kissing me for the next couple of months. You know what? I'm all right with that. It's like, how can I not be able to deal with that as a person? There's got to be other ways to invest my energy. And I think the problem is, immediately if someone thinks, oh, I kind of want to meet someone, the options that open out to them are like frenzied, frantic dating. It's like the right way to go about this is I'll just go on a date every night of the week. And if I get a match, because that's somehow superior to being by myself. And I'm like, what? How can you value your own company in the rest of your life so poorly?
Because when they're gone, it's back to you being with you.
Yeah, and I hear these I read this article actually like a couple of weeks ago, which is called Weekend Loneliness, which is basically you're single. And so, you know, there's none of the excitement of the kind of after work drink stuff during the week. So on the weekend, you sit there by yourself and how bad it is. And I'm like, God, what are you doing with yourself? I was like, first of all, exit house. You know, do something nice and positive, because the problem is if your time with yourself is seen as negative or devalued or boring or lonely or bad, then guess what? Your threshold for needing or wanting a romantic partner of any kind is going to be pretty low.
Yeah.
And in fact, you're going to grasp on to the first person or people that come your way without actually really considering what your goals are and whether they fit into your life and whether you actually like them or you're actually attracted to them and actually get on with them. So I think the better your life is without a romantic partner in it, obviously your like standards get higher and you are more selective about the people that you engage with. And that's really important.
Yeah. I went through that about last summer. I just realized, oh my God, I'm like sleeping with people just because it's in my iCal. Because it was almost like obligatory. I was like, oh, well, I have to have sex with Sarah at 5 o'clock on Saturday. I know my grandma died this morning, but that was my wake up call. Was I was having sex with someone the day grandma died, and I'm like, because it was in the iCal, and because I was filling the days with hookups and sex and dates, and I'm just like, I just stopped. I was like, you know what? I'm not. Now my policy is like 3 planned date nights a week maximum.
Oh yeah,
that's it. Otherwise, I'll never be doing stand up, working on my show, being creative, doing the things I need to do for me. I have to do those things. Otherwise, I'm dating every night. And then what do you get done? Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. You date people.
And like you were saying, the threshold gets higher. So now, you know, I've had matches or I've had someone hit me up to go out. And maybe a year ago, I'd be like, yeah, sure. I'll find a time for you. And I'm like, yeah, like I'll probably end up making out with that person at some point. But I don't really want her that badly. That like now my time, like I'd rather be with myself and work on bits, go on stage, work on the show, than maybe make out with someone I'm not even that into.
Yeah, right. And it's like, I think people, men and women, have to go, right, time, obviously, as a human being, is our most valuable asset, right? Yeah. You know, one thing you can spend and you can't buy. Because of that, if that's like the premium factor here, then you have to be careful about where you're spending it. And you know what? Here's the thing. Say you progress more and you do this awesome comedy show and your career starts to take off, or you develop a better and cultivate a better lifestyle for yourself, then obviously you
have high hopes for me. That's
you've got twinkly eyes, man. It's going to happen. And also this is how I think about it for myself. I'm like, well, if I work on myself and I am actually fit and healthy and running a successful business and I've got this cool book that brings new and interesting ideas into the world, surely then the people that I'll meet as romantic partners as a consequence of like Hayley 2.0 are going to be a load better than if I was like normal Hayley running around like a headless chicken, just going out on a date with the first available person every single night of the week. Right. So I think it's like long term versus short term as well, what you want to get.
Yeah. And so you're feeling healthier now about that? Are you out? So are you like officially out of your celibacy pledge?
Yes, but I'm still dating. I have started to have sex, but I'm.
Oh, congratulations! Very happy.
It was really good as well. I was telling Lainey, I was like, oh my God. It was amazing.
Yeah, what was that like the first time after months and months of self-imposed celibacy?
Self-imposed. It was like, I'm not that bad.
Was it just like shove his face down, be like, finally?
You know what it was? I have to say, the person it was with, I did have like insane chemistry with anyhow. Yeah. So it was literally like, oh my God, this is a really terrible thing to analogize it to. This is going to blow my clean living image. But in the past, I might have possibly done something, you know, like nitrous oxide, the balloons.
I mean, I'm aware that that's a thing.
It's a thing, isn't it? Like, and you know, it was like that basically. It was like, whoa, 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 shake, 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 flashing lights. It was like, and then, but like in a really good way. And then like, sounds? Even afterwards, I was like, but and now, but even to this moment, like here's what I've kind of come to the recognition that I think sometimes, particularly if you meet someone you think is super, super awesome, you know, good quality relationships take time to put together and build sometimes, and sometimes the moment isn't 100% right. Like this is part of our culture as well. I think we expect everything we want like today, this minute. Like yeah, we've met each other, so let's do this right now. And sometimes actually like it isn't quite the right moment. So for me, learning to be like patient, take things slowly. Like in the past, imagine like you've met this person that you really like and you've had this insane sex after 6 months of celibacy. Do you think you would then normally take like, oh, I'm just going to go on a 6 week work hiatus, maybe 2 months to America? Because I think I really still need to like get my shit together a bit more and focus. Like I would have never done that in the past in a million years. So I'm still going like snail pace on dating and relationships. And I actually think it's probably the best thing that I've ever done.
That's awesome. I'm currently experiencing, I think, both sides of that coin, where I have one where it's going the pace. Like there was a hookup, there was chemistry, dating, great sex, all that, like the normal speed that I was used to. But there's this other woman who I started seeing after like months of just talking, because we met at a thing and then she leaves. She goes out of town a lot. She's an opera singer. And then she comes back and we can finally go out. And it's kind of a snail's pace. I can tell she's like on the more, like sex is not like her first priority. And I'm so used to sleeping with or dating women who sex is such a high priority. And so this woman and I, we've been going out for a couple months. We only first had sex like a week ago. Yeah. And it was intense and it was amazing. And I have this huge emotional connection to her. And so when we finally did it, but like the entire months, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not even worried about like, when are we going to fuck? I'm like, there's this amazing person here I get to experience, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's really beautiful to do it old school. Actually, one of my things that I've been advising my female subscribers to do this week was like go a bit lo-fi on it. And that just means, you know what, like I'm not about don't have sex with him because then he's not going to value you and then use sex as a commodity. Because I think, again, like that just it reinforces all the wrong stuff. However, I think there's a logic. It's like, well, if you say your goal, it doesn't have to be your goal, but if your goal is like, I want to find like a long-term partnership or relationship with someone, you know what, people are complicated. It takes time to work them out. It takes time to actually even to begin to get to know someone. So if that's your goal, it makes sense to take things at a slow pace over an extended period of time, just so you can make sure you're not like doing the thing where you go like, oh my God, I met this person and they are perfect. And they're like, how long have you known them for? 2 hours. But they're
they're the one. Trust me. Trust me, they're the one.
I know this. I'm right this time.
I know all those other times I was wrong, but this time.
Is the one. And you know what? There's something about like genuinely, if you can like say, you know, you do like you spend, you know, a couple of months just communicating, or you speak on the phone instead of just sending messages.
Oh, we did phone. We did phone.
If you could do phone, I think it's like not phone sex, just phone.
Yeah.
Talk on the phone. If you can do that, I think that's an amazing indicator for the relationship. And actually, I think then, you know what, if you do go and you hang out and you do kind of like normal things, you know, like cooking together or like going around the park or a museum, instead of like fancy, sexy date, cocktail bar show, distraction things.
Also, who can afford that all the time? I can't.
Right. So you do that like over, say, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And you know what? Like if you're continuing to engage with this person in the process, you're building something that's interesting and that's strong. And you've actually, if you're incompatible or it's not a good fit, or you actually, you know, maybe they were putting on a bit of a front at the beginning, or they're being more seductive, or they've actually got, as we all have, shadow sides, or, you know, bits of them that doesn't go well with you, then you're going to discover it, rather than what I would have done in the past, which has just been like, oh my God, it's my exciting new thing. I must see them all day, every day.
I like how your high voice sounds more American. That
I'm not saying anything about English and American sex.
High voice goes American teenage white girl. That's what I went to.
You know what? Like, I have to say this as well. When I was 16, I got to go on a 2-week school exchange in American high school. And I was like, remember, I was like the dorky girl. And like, I was picked though to go to like this American high school
But
exchange.
everyone wanted to talk to you.
I
right?
know, it was like the best experience of my life ever. And since then, I've had this ongoing love affair with America. I went to this, it wasn't like a prom, it was like the Halloween dance or whatever.
Yeah.
I went as like Miss UK. Like, my nan made me a sash and stuff for it. And honestly, boys slowed up. Boys liked me.
Yeah.
Boys liked me in America. So
You were exotic in a very white but weird way.
yeah.
They were like, yo, hey, have her read the cafeteria menu again. It sounds so cool.
Oh yeah, I remember guys saying, "Can I see your tatties?"
Your tatties?
Yeah, I had big boobs then because I was plump. Yeah.
Is tatties a thing y'all say?
Potatoes? No. Like, I don't know
Were
who
they just
says
guessing
it. I think they were
British
guessing
slang?
British slang, and it wasn't British slang.
I think they call them tatties. Yeah, let's try. Hey, yo, let me see your tatties. That didn't work. What do they call them? What do you guys call the boobs, the tits?
Boobs.
You just call them boobs?
Boobs, tits.
You don't have any fun names?
Like, I mean, there's like some like.
We have fun names.
Okay, give me a fun name.
Fun bags. That's the first one that comes to mind. Breasticles. I like breasticles.
Yeah.
Chesticles, if we want to stay with the Ickles theme. I don't know. What, you guys don't have like a slang term for boobs?
There's loads of like slangy terms that are like Bristols.
Bristols? Yeah, I like
Yeah,
Bristols.
Bristols.
I don't even know what the fuck that means, but it sounds great.
Yeah, but you know, I just say boobs,
Okay.
boobs, tits, same kind of thing. You know.
Did you get to like kiss boys while you were here in America for 2 weeks?
You know what? Oh my God, this is another bad teenage story. I was like, gosh, it's like you can't go 2 minutes without a bad story from my like dodgy past. So I had actually started to date my first boyfriend in the UK, and obviously this is a big achievement. So I got to America, and there was, I can't even remember his name now. He was really hot, like captain of the soccer team, gorgeous, was totes hitting on me. Could have made out with him at the party. We'd had one vodka like drink, and to a British teenager that's like whatever, because we're all hardened alcoholics by that point, but like to the American teenagers it's like a really big deal. But I was like, oh no, I must be loyal to Steve Udry back in the UK. And then literally as soon as I get home, I get a message from him, and he's like cheated on me and hooked up with this other girl. And then like I was like, well, what was the point in that?
You're like, shit, I could have hooked up with the hot soccer guy.
Exactly.
So were you into casual sex before, like in the midst of your like early 20s when you were doing all the pickup artist coaching and such? Or were you very like romantic?
I definitely, I'm definitely a diehard romantic. Funnily enough, my sexual experimentation, though, I've pretty much like, I've tried everything. I've tried like, I'll try a one night stand, I'll try a casual thing with this thing. Like, doesn't really do it for me. My main experimentation was more actually with female. So I've had many more brief female sexual relationships than I have had male ones. And obviously I tried like, you know, I've tried BDSM, I've tried group sex, I've tried going to lots of sexy parties, I've tried having a lesbian relationship, I've tried polyamory. I feel like I've tried a lot of different things, and it was really, I think, because I was actually, you know, I was basically a geeky girl from a small town, and my mum was like, I just want you to get married and have babies. And I was like, no, Mum, I'm going to go to the big city and start a blog and like do all this stuff.
And start a
blog. Yeah. My parents still don't know what a blog is, by the way.
Don't worry, my parents barely know what a podcast is.
No, it's like a radio on the internet. Oh, no, it doesn't matter. And because of that, I think I rebelled. And like I got into the pickup thing. And the pickup thing, one of the kind of negatives of it is it does encourage a lot of ego. It's very much like, oh, you know what? Like you might be geeky now, but you learn these skills and you can get whoever you want. And so I kind of used that, but I was using it not to like ensnare guys. I was really not that into like, for whatever reasons, like casual sex with dudes. Instead, I was more interested in like, can I approach a woman during the daytime like the guys do?
Yeah.
You know, I was like a kind of like a tomboy. So I experimented a lot in that area. And I think now, you know what, like after I had one last truly hedonistic rock and roll disaster combustion relationship, the one that I mentioned in the TEDx talk. After that, I was like, actually, I have just been lost in like dating, sex, and love. It was and is really literally my drug. Like that was my like abuse of choice, was dating, sex and relationships. And I thought, I can't carry on like this. It's actually not what I really want. In fact, to me, it'd be like a pretty cool achievement, having led such a bizarre, weird life. If one day I could have like a normal, healthy, well-balanced relationship and babies, if I get that and I achieve that, that's like the new frontier. So
it comes back around.
It does.
The fourth wave is going way back when.
Yeah, literally. It's like my fourth wave bohemian is like, I was like, look, I just want to go into the countryside and pick apples and like bake potatoes. Like, Lainey knows it's all I ever talk about. I'm so broody. It hurts.
I mean, I don't get to the point that I want to pick apples. I love this city. But I mean, I get like that too. And so in like being the very slutty dude that I've been and was, but like an ethically slutty dude. Like I was, one of those weird ones who talked openly and honestly about stuff, and it confused women. Be like, wait, you're trying to fuck me, but like you're talking about it in like an open way. This is strange.
Great.
I should sleep with you. I was like,
yeah.
And amidst all of that, and as now things have slowed down, I don't know if you experienced this since you were publicly a pickup coach, right?
Yeah.
So did you almost feel like, am I like off brand if I stop, again, having all this crazy wild sex? It's like, for me, I'm like, it's Manor podcast. What happens if I settle down? Like, are they still going to like me?
Well, here's the thing that I thought that was most interesting to me is because I had such like a profound life event. It was like one of those things, when something really big happens to you.
So I was going to ask what there was the event. Do you want to explain what that was?
Yeah. So basically, I was doing, I was still kind of post pickup coach. I was coaching women as well and doing more broad dating advice. Probably wasn't that career focused. I was mainly focused on having this really catastrophic, disruptive relationship with a guy, and he was in the music industry in the UK. You can imagine sex, drugs, and rock and roll was the general vibe. But because we lived in this cool live-work apartment in East London, and we went out to all these festivals. It was like, I wasn't really looking at just how kind of shit the relationship had got and really how nasty it had become. And then completely out of the blue, I found out that I was pregnant, and I have polycystic ovaries. We would be being told medically that between the two of us, we weren't going to have kids. So it was a bit more of a thinker than, I could just have children anytime. He became really hostile towards me. He left a few days.
Hostile because you wanted to keep it?
Just
because. Okay.
Just hostile. And like, I just wanted to talk about it really, because I think like it's kind of a big decision which way you go with that kind of thing. And he just went on like a big bender and then came back a few days later with some guys. And he's like, he literally said, imagine you're pregnant. He's like, you might want to leave the house. I'm like, why? He's like, there's some guys that are going to come over and they're going to take my things. And he didn't just take his belongings. He took our shared belongings. So like TV, paintings, crockery.
Yeah, you said he took the art. And I was like, he's like, well, I'm taking my Avengers poster.
Yeah.
I'm like,
no, it was like, can you imagine? Okay, it's like in East London. I can't remember whether it's like a Brooklyn, where
like a
student loft thing, and it was already cool. And then you go back and like you're pregnant, and then like there's no fun parties, there's no sexy people in there anymore. It's just empty and dusty and scary. It was scary as hell. And then I saw him like one last time after that, and I'd started to feel really unwell that day. And I was like, I think I need to go to hospital. And he's like, oh no, you're just making it up, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, at this point on the floor, I was like, no, I really need to go to hospital. Walked out, and I literally had to crawl into the street, flag for help, and then I lost my baby. And I'd actually at that point decided I was going to go renegade and just be a single mum vlogger. Why not? I'll just go with it. And I had never had that kind of like level of loss to do. I can't even like explain like that. It's like the parameters of like grief in my head just went so much bigger than they ever had been before. And I kind of looked at my life and I thought, what the fuck have I been doing basically for like, the past however long. Great. Like I've really lived my 20s. This has been fun. But it was nothing. I was like, I recognized actually, what did I need then? I needed community, family, support, my friends that stuck around when I wasn't like this cool person doing fun, provocative stuff. I was actually just like limping around like a little shattered individual. And I realized also that I had a real love for my child, and that fundamentally that was so much bigger than everything else. And then for me, it was like, well, this baby was alive to me, wasn't alive to the rest of the world. And so you have to go through this really funny, like very introspective bereavement process. And I'd actually be due to give birth on April 23rd. So just under a month's time from now. So I kind of...
Oh, Christ, this is like very recent.
Yeah, very recent. So because of that, it's like when you have something that's that big, it's like you can't, like I literally, things that I used to love in the past became repellent to me, and other things called to me like a lot more. So what became repellent to me? Just like going out and partying for the sake of it, having cool friends, doing stuff that was like sexy or provocative, or having, you know, all of that. I literally felt like I just don't care. Like it
made you get adult real quick.
Yeah, my brain went adult. I was like, you know what? I don't give it shit if I don't go to that party. I just don't care. Like, I don't care if my friend has loads of followers on Instagram. I definitely don't care, like, if I'm like having if I'm having this cool sexy date and adventures week. I was like, I don't care. So I just sat and I was like, I need to look at myself here. And I sat by, and that's what I did. Like, I put a 6-month penalty on myself in a nice way, because I thought I actually need to start seeing things clearly. And off the back end of that, although, you know, I still work with lots of guys and I still have quite an active male subscribership and I still want to keep working with guys, it made me really look at like women's dating issues and how women are engaging with dating and love and going, oh my God, I see that it's like I was blind and now I can see. And because of that, it's meant that I'm now actually, it's a lot of investment of time and money, and it's not like, a lucrative, great way for me to go at all. But it's like, it feels like this is the only route I can possibly go down. I was like, I can't talk about stuff I don't care about. I'm like, who cares about like how long you should, like what text message you should send the person? I was like, this isn't really like an important human intimacy relationship issue. It's not going to help anybody talking about that. And in fact, unless we acknowledge that that's all just scammy marketing that is there to sell people dating advice based on their fears, and someone needs to tell someone like, no, stop. There's a different way to go about this. Like, I just released a YouTube video today called How Not to Scare Him Off, or something like that. Okay. Or like, it was similar. It was along those lines. And in it, it's like I've stolen a title that I know is a popular like YouTube Google for women. But obviously when you open the video up, it's switch. Because I need them to be like, you know, in that point, you know, if you're Googling that, I'm sorry, like you are feeling a bit down on yourself, aren't you? You're not in a great headspace. You're like, I'm really worried, I'm really anxious. I don't want to scare this guy. Please, somebody love me this time. And instead of there being a video there which says, oh, you know what? You shouldn't do this. And these are the 5 rules to not scare him off. Or this is a message. Someone needs to be going there going, that is such a load of shit. Like, please don't listen to it. This is what's fucking you up in the first place. Get your head screwed on, and this is what we're going to do instead. And so I'm trying to now change and challenge that dialogue. And so, you know, if people are looking at my presence on the internet, they might be a bit like, what's going on here? Because it's like a little bit pickup artist, a little bit dating expert, and now it's a little bit like female warrior. But
female warrior.
But my thing is, I've always been like, I have to talk about what I care about, and I have to talk about what I believe in. And if something is repellent or, you know, antithetical to me right now, I'm not doing it anymore. So this is the future.
I mean, I feel the same way with dudes when guys ask me like how to have more sex or how to get laid. And like for me, because I'm a guy who, like, my issue has always been my problem, quote unquote, was that women would sleep with me, but they wouldn't date me. And so people are like, oh, like, you clearly have a lot of sex. How can I go to these things? Or how can I get this? And I would tell them, like, your first thing is, I think I get laid as much as I do because I don't try to get laid.
Right.
Like, stop trying to hook. Like, I try to make out. If I make out, I won. Like, I'm a big fan of making out. It's like one of my favorite things to do. But I'd be like, stop trying to get laid.
Right.
And then try to focus on you. And if you're kind of a shitty person, then getting laid is the least of your concerns. You got to work on being not such a dick.
Right.
Because then all that stuff will just kind of come in.
Yeah, because it's I completely agree. And I think when you've got a guy and he's in that mindset, and believe me, I've had loads of guys saying the same. He's like, hey, I just want to,
I've got a goal. I need to put my dick somewhere.
Where? Soon.
Preferably warm and moist.
See?
But if she's not too wet, I don't care. Yeah. I need to get in.
Right. And actually, the funny thing is, and this is, again, like some men's dating advice, not all, but some men's dating advice will be teaching towards that goal. And the goal is inherently, as you just observed, screwing the guy up in the process. Because as soon as you become really you're really goal focused, and if you don't get it, it's a failure. It's a failure.
If you don't fuck, you failed.
Right. And so that prevents you from obviously being in the moment, actually realizing that she's a human too, and that she's got sexual needs. There's a dialogue there that needs to be discussed. What? And actually, you know what? A woman in a slot machine, you know that if you pull the right levers at the right time, then the prize comes out the other side. You know, actually, guess what? You have to turn up, be present, and see if there's a relationship, no matter how brief, between the two of you. And in fact, say he changed that around. His goal was, you know what? I'm going to work out. I'm physically attracted to her. I'm going to work out if she's cool and if we get on as people, and if there's something in there between us, if we have a kind of a connection, and I'm going to explore that. And you know what? I'm not going to disguise the fact I'm sexually attracted to her. In fact, I'm going to be really upfront about it. If a guy could do that, chances of getting laid much higher than what are these 5 steps? How do I kino escalate? What are the 5 touches I need to do to her to make her really turned on? Kino, it's touch. Kino escalation is another pickup term, which would be like guys will say, this will make you laugh. They go, we need to go kino, which basically means like you're on a date with her and you haven't touched her yet. So you need to go kino. You need to touch her.
That sounds like a military thing. It's like, he's in the earpiece, like, we got to go kino. Go kino!
That's what it's like, though. That's what it's like. It's like, oh my God, you've got 3 IOIs, indicators of interest.
An IOI? What the fuck?
It's an interest. Okay,
what's going on here?
I know. Okay, and here's what's even more dumb about this. And so now a guy is like, I haven't got an indicator of interest. Remember, this is a man looking
of interest.
This is a man looking for a woman's signals. Men are not often brilliant at reading women's signals, and women's body language signals, as we know, we've got loads more of them. They're much more subtle. They're different to men's. And also, if a man is kind of waiting on permission before he's open about what his intentions are, often she ain't going to feel that attracted to him anyway, because he's acting in a way that's neutral towards her.
And she could also be going neutral too, waiting for something from him. And now
so
you're both not fucking.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's like in England, by the way. It's like the Cold War or something. It's like no one's talking, no one's willing to put a move out. And in fact, for both men and women, I'm really a big fan of being just, direct and open about all aspects, not just sexual, but also, your emotional needs, what you're wanting, what you're feeling, not worrying about scaring someone off, being okay to be vulnerable, just laying it all out on the line. Because I think all relationships, brief or longer term, have to have a degree of acceptance, or a large degree of the other person being cool with you and you being cool with yourself and you being cool with one another. Then the sex is better and all great things happen.
But wouldn't there be something to be said for having tact? So
yes.
what I think was a problem for me before I started the show was I was so keen on I need to get a girlfriend. I need a girlfriend, and I make it so well known early on that I was like, I really like you. I want this to go into a place. That almost like freaked them out and they kind of scared off.
I would say, here's the trick. Don't make it about them. So you don't want to avoid saying you want to just say I. So it would be like, obviously if I meet someone that's awesome, then yeah, of course I'd like to have a relationship with them.
Right.
Like, it's like unapologetic. This is just kind of where I'm at.
Make it a theoretical statement.
It's a theory, and it should be a theoretical statement on the first date because you don't know them yet.
Exactly. Thinker. So your whole brand is now gone to a different place. So now it's so more centered towards you, and you're dating yourself now, and
I kind of a tiny weeny bit.
Yeah, tiny weeny bit. A little bit of mind-blowing helium, what was nitrous oxide sex?
No, but it was basically like a little tiny bit of nitrous oxide sex. But you can imagine like one nitrous oxide sex in like, I don't know, it's like totally it's like going to be like 9 months or something. Sure. That's a lot of time. It's a lot more of the phone call museum front at the moment in the dating world.
So is your coaching all in person? Do you do it over Skype? Such like that?
I do loads of stuff. So I do in-person coaching. So like in the past, that was a big part of what I did, actually taking people out practically, men and women, and getting them to approach people. Then I do Skype stuff. I also have online subscribers clubs, so people can subscribe to my websites, and essentially instead of paying to be on like an online dating site, you can pay to learn skills instead and get extra content. And I sell different courses on dating, sex, and relationships.
And now here's something I thought was interesting. I was listening to some of your podcasts, and when you were younger, like 23, 24, you were a dating coach, right? Mm-hmm. But did anybody ever just be like, you're fucking 24, what do you know? Like, did you get any of that?
Right. I guess here's the thing. I was working at that point in time in the men's market. Right. So actually, hey, I'm a 24-year-old.
You're who they wanted to fuck. Like,
right. I was like, it's like, that was it. But what was funny about me is like, I always really disliked the fact that I was like, oh, Hayley, give a talk on what women want. And I was like, oh, shut up. Like, I don't want to just be the token girl. So I think pushed myself quite hard at that time to do things like taking taking guys out for 6-hour shifts. I did that for like 18 months, like a full-time job, teaching men how to approach women. So then via that, I had to learn quite a lot actually about conversation and social skills. And then I started to come up with my own ideas. And I've never, and I still to this day don't teach anything that's like a line or routine, because I think that disempowers the individual. Right. But lots of the time there are better ways that people can speak to one another that people are not necessarily aware of. So you've got a guy and he maybe is working in a very technical job. Like he's used to probably giving information in an extremely succinct, logical way. Sometimes that doesn't gel the best with attracting and having that awesome conversation with a woman. So I might teach him something as simple as like, instead of asking a question, which actually sometimes if you question a person loads, particularly in a big first date or when you first meet them, it can feel like an interrogation. It doesn't, and actually they don't want to just tell you everything about themselves. They don't know you. So I get the guy to actually to begin to be more open about himself and to offer information instead. So instead of saying like, what's your favorite color? He'd say, I don't know about you, but my favorite color is blue. Like it's a really dumb example. But so I'll teach things like that. And all of that information is stuff that I gleaned over literally years of watching people on first dates or getting people to approach one another.
Okay. I asked you, so we had a little Twitter exchange yesterday. What you say you were a great read on people. You say you could like walk into a bar and be like, that's the pickup artist, that's the guy who's shy, that's the guy who's like really confident. I was getting again a read on you, doing a little bit of research. What's your read on me?
I actually really like you.
Oh,
I have to say, genuinely.
Yeah.
I more than what
you can be. You don't have to say that. You can be. You can say.
I know,
you're a fuckhead.
I mean genuine. I
can't
genuine.
wait
It's
for
like,
someone to just come on the show and like badmouth me. I'm like waiting for it.
I know. Don't be
strive
such
for that day.
don't be such a masochist. You're like a good human. Like it's so obvious, you know. And I think there's like I know what I thought about you when I first met you is like I thought you were warm, friendly, like actually kind of caring. You weren't sure exactly what your boundaries and your parameters were with me, but you were quite willing to step forward and be kind. You've been kind to me on the show as well. You know, you could give me a lot more slack than you probably have done.
I don't know. There wasn't much to really grill you on. The only thing I would have gone at was age, but that was all in the past tense.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't have anything in looking you up to really like attack.
Well, that's good.
I was hoping for it. It's always nice to have a little bit of a
I know.
a
I think
clash.
maybe you want to have a bit more controversy because actually, I don't know. Like, I think you come across to me anyway. Like, I think if we were hanging out, I think you would be mellow. I can't see us. I don't think we would ever fight. I feel like you're more of a lover than a fighter.
I'm trying. I just need someone to love me back. Working on it. But you're a fabulous person. I'm loving it. You have a lot of things to plug if you haven't plugged them already. You're very sly with them. You're very slick. So you've got the coaching. You've got 2 podcasts, which I've listened to myself, which I like that they're bite-sized. Mm-hmm. They're good. They're all like about 20 minutes each.
Right.
So you can really kind of nail a bunch in 1 hour. You got one that's for the ladies. Is that the Attraction HQ?
No, Attraction HQ is men and Love HQ is women. And I might change the names of these, but they're on iTunes. So if you want to check them out. Yep. And I usually just like, I don't know. I talk as openly as I possibly can about stuff. Like, and I always have. I try and have interesting guests on the show as well. Like, if you ever want to come and do one of my podcasts,
always,
please, let's podcast. So I do that. Obviously, I'm a big YouTuber. And all I'd say is to
your YouTube is where?
It's Hayley Quinn XX. But if you Google it, it will come up. Then. Also, if there's any women that are listening, if you go to hayleyquinn.com/real love, REALLOVE, then I've got a cool video series like challenging how you might be seeing dating at the moment, or hopefully shift that around, and kind of a similar thing for guys at hayleyquinn.com/her mind.
Right.
So, yeah.
So all at hayleyquinn.com, and a lot of spelling going on, but it's HAYLEYQUINN.com. You'll see all this in the show notes that none of you people ever read. There'll be, yeah.
But it's important because I'm not an HAILEY or a HALEY or all these other funky American spellings I keep getting.
Oh, the funky. Maybe it's a funky British spelling. Okay.
I have to say, can I also say Hayley means from the hayfield? I was like, thanks, thanks for the noble name, Mum and Dad.
What? I'm a proper dumb American. What's a hayfield?
Right, I don't know. It's just a field full of long grass and hay. But you know how other people have names which means like the one or like privileged son of God or
Want to know what William means? Helmet.
Really?
I mean, in like the classier one says like protector, guardian, but like in German, it's just like it means like a helmet.
Is that kind of sexual?
I wish it was. Sadly, not. I learned that in 5th grade. I was like, that's boring.
I know. You've got the bad name meaning. On the bright side, I'm a Sagittarius and born year of the tiger. So there we go.
I'm Gemini, year of the snake. I don't know what any of that means.
Oh, it's year of the snake this year. You're young. Hang on. How old are you? You mid-30s?
12. Did you say mid-30s?
How can it be? You're not year. It says year of the snake now, and people who are 38 are year of the snake.
She said I was in my mid-30s.
What? Hang on. So you're 26?
I'm 26, yeah. Oh,
okay.
gosh.
I was like 38, 26. Hang on. This is really bad. This is how I spend my time. I spend a lot of time working on the Chinese.
Oh, no, I'm 26.
Yeah, I thought so. I was like, hang on, because I knew another year of the snake and he's 38. And I'm like, whoa, no way, man. Anyway, so you've just got an inadvertent trip into Chinese horoscopes. That's what I also, when I'm not saving the world's dating and love life, I am busy reading up my horoscope online. I am that person.
Oh, well, Hayley, you are just a goddamn delight. So everyone go to HayleyQuinn.com. Go to the show notes. I'll have links for her Twitter, her podcast, all that jazz. Anything else you want to plug? Anything else?
No. I feel like I've really I think I've overplugged this one. So thank you for I just like to thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. You were great. You were I hit up Blaney about Genevieve for Skirt Club and then she said that you guys were together. I was like, I'll take a look. Oh, and I watched a TED Talk and a TEDx talk and I was like, this is great. How do I know who this person is?
Oh, yeah.
I need to know who she is.
Here's my final plug then. That TEDx
yes.
talk.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Why not? Yes, guys. The TEDx talk is great. It's I'll put it up on the website. It's really good talk. It talks just about learning how to kind of love you first, and then you can go fuck you first. Like go have a good time with yourself, and then go have good times with other people. It definitely, like I said, I really connected with it with what I've been going through the last 8 to 9 months or so. Mm-hmm. So definitely, but
amazing,
awesome. Well, thank you so much. I want to say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you, and thank you for listening, guys and girls. I'll see you soon.
Man, look, how many of you listened to that episode and got hashtag all the feels? I know I did. Wow, amazing woman. Great. I love her message. It's good stuff. You should all go check out Hayley all over the internet. Support her stuff. Like she said, she has a very active YouTube page, youtube.com/HayleyQuinnXX. She's got the 2 podcasts, Attraction HQ, Love HQ. Look, just go to HayleyQuinn.com, HayleyQuinn.com, and you can find all of the shit she's up to, because she's up to a lot. And then you know me, I'm on the internet too. I've been known to put things online. You can find me on Twitter at @TheBillyPresida. You know that's where I love to hear from you. Say hello. Use the hashtag #ManWhorePodcast. Let me know what you thought about the show. And if you don't have Twitter, you want to say something a little more privately, shoot me an email. Love reading your emails. Send me your comments, your questions, your booby pictures over to manwhorepod@gmail.com. And lastly, people, if you have $1, you got 50 cents, you got $5, whatever you can contribute, please go make a pledge today, right now, to my Patreon page. It's very easy to do. Just go to patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. I wouldn't be in Los Angeles without you, and with your help, I'll be able to travel to more places and catch up with more of my exes. So until next week, everyone, who I'm bringing back one of apparently your favorite Man or Podcast guests, because I get comments about her all the time, well over a year later. Very excited to bring back Michelle from Random Acts of Muff Dive. You may remember her. Can't wait for y'all to hear that. Once again, we have a really good string of good episodes. Very excited about the next several weeks. So until next week, everybody, you know me. I'm here every Wednesday, dropping some sex stuff on you, telling some funnies. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Go support our sponsor at adamandeve.com. Use the code MANWHORE at checkout. Have some fun. Do things. Come hang out with me tonight. Dark Room on Melrose. People, come hang with me. And let's stay slutty.